discuss about best practices that we supposed to follow whenever we are developing any of the process. Then what are different life cycles when we are automating any of the process? So there are certain stages that you should aware, since some of the teammates are working in some organization, they might follow some life cycle of software development. The life cycle of RPA is bit different, but not like too much different. It's like synonyms like whatever you are following in SDLC, that is normal SDLC. Then what are different sample documents you should prepare well when you are going to develop any of the parts? And then resume preparation, and what is the next step from our side. So for resume preparation, I would like to tell you we are having two trainers as me and Gajanan. So there will be two groups. We'll divide these candidates. For example, we are having 8 candidates, then we'll divide 4 candidates in one group and 4 in another. So 4 candidates will be assigned to me, 4 candidates will assign to Gajanan, and we'll take follow-ups uh, until your resume is not completed, your preparation is not well. We will mentor you, we will uh, take your suggestions, we will suggest you something, and would like to make you a perfect RPA developer for next couple of weeks. And in that case, your response is very important. So we'll discuss what you have to do in that part. So in best practices, we have used different layouts diagrams team, like a flowchart, sequence, and state machine. Now, whenever you are creating any process, so if process is very simpler, for example, you have just only one application and very limited activities you want to perform, for example, downloading some files and all. If the process is very simple, then you can use normal sequence. If you are thinking that there are some conditional things, then you can use flowchart, as already we discussed, and state machine, where there are some dependencies between certain states. So depending on the situations, you could choose any of the layouts. Now, decisions, whenever you want to make decisions, there are different options like if else, flow decision, switch, flow switch. So you have to understand your scenario. Guys, without understanding scenario, don't try to use any of this workflow or any of the conditional flows like if else, flow decision, switch, or flow switch. If you have a 4 to 5 decisions you wanted to make, or if you have 5 different cases, then in that case you have to use switch. So by understanding the situation, you can use this choices option. Don't follow blindly like if else, because we have habit to use if else. So don't use if else always. Try to think what are the other alternatives available. Then data, whenever we want to store any of the values, we are having 3 different options: variables, arguments, and assets. So most of times we are confused between variables and arguments. So when to use variables and when to use arguments? If you are using variables, then that variable is used for specific scope. You can't send those values to other workflow. So just think before using. If we are using variable, that is used to send the values to outside the workflow. If no, then you can use variable. But if you are thinking, yeah, I need to send this value outside this workflow, then you should use argument. So these 2 points you should remember very well. Naming convention. While introducing this uipath tool, we have covered this point, but again, naming convention should be properly, and it should be understand what you mean to say. For example, if you are creating any new workflow, because in one process there might be 10 to 100 workflows. So each workflow should be renamed properly. For example, if you want to log into SAP, so that should be properly named. For example, the process name and what is the application you are logging. So you can use that like process name underscore SAP login. So that should be properly named. This is the naming convention for naming workflow. But if you want to rename or name any of the variables or any of the arguments, then as per discussion, you should properly name. For example, you can see variable should be used as a upper camel case. For example, first name should be used as a first letter capital and this names n capital. So that makes sense what you wanted to tell. If you are using only first capital and continuously small letter, then nobody can immediately highlight what is that. So it should be immediately highlighted what is the name of that variable. So if you are writing the variable name like this, where first name, so you can understand, or int first name. So int first name, sorry, str first name is your variable type is string and name is a first name. Try to use first as a variable type. For example, if it is string, then you should use str first name. If it is variable as an integer int number, like that. So you should follow that with naming convention. Argument should be in upper camel case with a prefix. So same format you can use, but you have to add what is the flow, whether it is in, whether it is out, or whether it is out, in out. Comments and annotations you should properly use wherever required. If your activity is not properly mentioning or telling you what is the purpose, then you should use various comments and annotation. Any questions till now for naming conventions and best practices up till now?
No, sir.
No, sir. All these are theoretical points. So if you are having any questions, please let me know. Then desktop automations, guys, we have gone through different types of automation like desktop automation and web automation. So in desktop automations and web automations, we have different types of inputs. And we have discussed about these input methods. There are three different methods like default, send window message, and simulate key or type. So when to use which method? Default, when we should use window, and when should use simulate key. So we have explained already what is difference between these three. Simulate key is very fastest method. Then send window is bit slower, and default is slowest method among all these three. Default method can support send hotkey, but simulate key is not supporting. Send window also supports send hotkey. So whenever you have certain situation, you should use these methods. Then selectors depending on what you have to do. For example, if you want to click somewhere, then in that case you should not take ID. If you are taking ID, until and unless your ID is not mandatory. Sometimes ID is must. Without ID we can't highlight the selectors, but around 90% we should exclude ID, because ID is changing every time. So whenever you are taking selectors, don't include ID. And if trying all times, if your ID is not changing, then you can put ID. But most of times ID is a dynamic. Then containers, open browser, attach browser. Depending on situation, if you want to perform multiple operation, you can use attach browser activity. OCR engines. Google Tesseract engine works better for smaller areas. Other engines like OmniPage OCR works better most of the situation. Any questions till now? Please stop me whenever you're just feeling the like questions in your mind. Then UI synchronization, user interface synchronization. There are different situations where you are not, you know, your expected task is not working. For example, if you want to click on certain window and that window is not coming, then you can't do that operation. That is simple thing. But to deal with certain situations, we should have certain activities properly used. And these activities are element exist, image exist, find element, wait element, vanish. This is a very important and best practices, guys. If you want to click on next page, then before going to that next page, you should use element exist. If that element is available, then only you can use other activities like click, type into, etc. Some situation we have to use find element. We have seen that in a PDF automation. Find element to get specific window to perform certain actions. Wait element vanish to this activity we haven't used because we didn't get that scenario, but in future you might get those scenarios. So you can use that. Project organization. So in project, there might be different modules. For example, there are two different applications. First application is used to perform certain SAP task. Second application is used to enter the result of SAP operation. And if there are two different applications are involved in your project and other things are also available, Excel operation, then some email operations. In that case, you should break your whole process into smaller workflows. For example, in Excel also, there are lots of operation. For example, first operation is a lookup operation, which includes like 20 activities you wanted to perform. Another Excel operation, which includes filtering. So you should break your workflows into very smaller workflows so that you can easily identify errors. If there are any exceptions, you could immediately find out the errors or the positions of the errors. So the main purpose of using this design principle of breakdown is to find out. आपको कुछ आवाज आ रही है क्या गाने की?
नहीं.
Nice,
अच्छा.
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
एक्चुअली मुझे आवाज आ रही, शायद मेरे नेबर ने कुछ गाने लगाए, मुझे लगा आपको भी डिस्टर्ब होगा वो. No problem. Thank you. So depending on how you can break your workflows in very simpler manner, you can break your workflows. Source control in order to easily this is the most important question, guys. In interview they might ask how to control your versions or your workflows. Let me tell you what is happening. You have developed one process. Okay, you have developed one process and गाणी कोणी लावलेत? Just guys, just give me 1 minute. Our workflow is ready and we wanted to deploy that in a test environment or again in production environment. Then if you are working and let's say you are on leave, and if there are any issues in your process, okay, your bot is in production. Now you might not understand what is production. Some people can understand, but some people might not. But let's see, you have some process you deployed somewhere, your bot is running well, but if there are any issues and you are on leave. So in that case, if any other developers wanted to understand what is the issue, or if that person wanted to change your code, how he can do? He can't change code until he have that. So how to make your code available to all the developers? So to deal with that situation, we have a source control. So this source control is nothing but it is called as a repository. So repository is the source control or source where you can store your processes. You can make storage of all your processes. That is called as source control. So in interview, you might have a question like what repository or what source control you have used. You can tell SVN, TFS, then DevOps. There are lots of different repositories are available. Or GitHub is very important. You know, GitHub you might have used, or I'll tell you how you can use that GitHub, how you can create the account for GitHub. Then context. If you have any questions, guys, you can just note down and you can ask me at last. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Context setting. To avoid hard coding, guys, never use hard coding. Hard coding means if you wanted to enter username and password, if you are manually entering, for example, admin and password as a password, and let's say your password is changing. So in code, you can't change. In code you can't change every time to change password in a code. That is very difficult situation. So in place of changing the code, you have to use all these dynamic things in a config file. So you should use that in a asset. That is a better thing to use. So avoid hard coded values. Credentials are always stored in asset. So by using get credentials, I think we have seen that get credentials activities in orchestrator part. Code reusability. When deploying, we often need to automate the same steps in more than one flow. Let's see, in one workflow, you wanted to log in SAP. In another workflow, you again need log into SAP and do some operations for 1T code. In third, again, we need SAP application and to do another operations. So there are three different places where we need SAP login. So in that case, if you are using same code in three different places, that is not a best practice. You should use reusable workflow. Same workflow you can use multiple times. That is called as code reusability, and that is properly followed. Then exceptions. You should properly handle the exceptions by using try catch and all the available options. So these are the like best practices and standardization that you should use. Any questions on these points, guys? Best practices and standardization.
No, sir.
Okay. Then process understanding, automation lifecycle. So what happens, guys, whenever let's see you are right now, I'm just taking your interview and I just shortlisted. Let's see, I shortlisted Prithviraj. So Prithviraj is the my new employee, and I wanted Prithviraj to do certain tasks. So I'll just call Prithviraj. Yeah, Prithviraj. Uh, let's see. Mohammed is my business person. So you have to discuss whatever you wanted to do, Mohammed. You can do, and I want the process to be developed and it should be deployed in production. Okay. Okay, guys, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Prithviraj, please turn on your camera, and Mohammed, you please also. Prithviraj, are you able to turn on? Yeah. Okay. So you can just start your mic, you unmute your mic and turn on. Yeah, camera is turned on. No problem. Now we have a business person as a Mohammed and recently hired candidate as a Prithviraj. Now I'm a manager. Let's consider I'm a manager and I'm just telling Prithviraj is newly hired candidate. What is my role, guys? Let me tell you. I'm a manager. What is my role? So my role is just hire the candidate and just interact the business with new hired candidates. So I'll just tell Mohammed. So let's consider this is today's first meeting. This is first meeting. There are three persons. First one is Sunil, who is a manager. Prithviraj is the newly hired candidate, and Mohammed is a business person. So what how discussion goes, and what are the important points? Those are discussing in this meeting. I'll just tell you. We'll demonstrate the same things. So um, on behalf of Prithviraj and on behalf of Mohammed, I'll just discuss the points. Okay. So first thing, what happened? I'll just introduce business that I have one resource. Let me tell you how I can explain, or as a manager, how I'm explaining Prithviraj as my best employee. So hello, Mohammed. Thank you so much for coming to this meeting. Today we have one resource, Prithviraj. He is a RPA developer, a senior RPA developer who is having experience 2+ years, and he's really dynamic person. He has completed RPA associate and advanced certification. He's a really dynamic person, and I wanted to introduce him to you, and he will work for you for next couple of months. So you can just discuss next part of your process, and you can go ahead. So that is the my role as a manager. I'll just tell you, Mohammed, that this is my new resource and he's really nice person. He will do everything for you. The main purpose of a manager's main purpose of manager is just to tell business my developer is really nice guy. He's a very enthusiastic. He's a person who can do everything. Okay, so the picture created in front of Muhammad for Prithviraj is like yeah. So in at that moment Prithviraj might afraid, yeah, I'm not that much. Why he is telling too much things about me? But this is a very important step. You introduction of the resource is the same way. Now because all these words you can see uh, gives you like your responsibility. What is your responsibility? Highlights your responsibility. Now the ball goes to Mohammad's court. Now Mohammed can understand. Yeah, this is really nice. Employee, and this is a really nice resource. I have to uh, take most of the things from this resource, and we can do better for the Prithviraj. So what we can do? So what business will do? Business means the person whose process wanted to automate, or client we can say. So Mohammed is a client and he's thinking about, yeah, I have lots of process, but since this is a really experienced resource, then we can assign him a very complex process that Mohammed might think. Okay, so now Mohammed will just go through his all the process. Let's see, he has 10 processes and he might select one process. Okay, now manager's role is over. Now manager's role is over. Now roles discussions and all these things just will come between these two persons. If you don't have any business analyst person, most of the organizations are having business analyst person, so you rarely come across to these situations, but I'm telling you possible situations, guys. If there are business analyst person in your organization, then you never directly interacts with business, but I'm just preparing you like a whole and sole responsibility of you. Now what Muhammad will do, Muhammad will just give high level description about his process, one of the process. Okay, so I have one process which this is Muhammad. I'm just talking on behalf of Muhammad. So thank you, Prithviraj. I hope you will like give me right input to do my all the processes to be automated. So I have 10 processes, but I feel this is very complex process and I wanted to go through or walk through this process, and you might develop that process. So let's consider what is my process. My process is I have one Excel file that is coming into the email, and I wanted to download that Excel file. And after getting that Excel file, I have to validate all the fields in that Excel file and make one final Excel file which should enter all the details into one application. Let's consider that is a SAP application. So I have to log into that applications, enter certain details from Excel file, then prepare report and send to the business or user. All these things should develop in my process. That is my task. So this is the first discussion, guys. It is called as a process walkthrough. So let me go back to my slides. What is my first step? Are you able to see my screen or not?
No,
Let
sir.
No, sir.
let
We have to off the camera, sir. I guess.
no problem. No, that is not mandatory. Let me share my screen. Now it might be it
Yeah,
might be
now visible.
visible. Yeah. So what is my first step? Process understanding. Got it? Process understanding. So whatever Muhammad will explain about his process, that is a process walkthrough, and whatever Prithviraj understands, that is the first step. Now what will happen? Now Prithviraj understand what is Muhammad's process and try to think how we can develop. Okay. Now how Prithviraj will go ahead. Directly development is not possible. You are on mute. Prithviraj, you are on mute. Still not able to hear us. Mohammed, you can just talk. You
Sir,
can
I'm
just
audible?
yes.
Yes, now audible.
Yes. Actually, in my case, you are the manager and Ali is our TL, right?
Yeah.
So, sir, thanks, Sunil, sir. Thanks, Ali. This is my first day in our company, so looking forward to work with this amazing team, and I will work hard to learn all these processes and with the help of Ali. So, yeah, that's the my first introduction in our team. Is it correct, sir?
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So now next step is now you have to develop process, Prithviraj. What
Yes.
is your next step? You wanted to
Uh,
develop that.
Yes, sir. First, I will need to understand the process with Ali. To what I need to work. What is my designation and what I need to work with this team. So first, I need to understand the process, and then I will whatever they assign me the work, I will action according to that.
Yeah. So Mohammed already assigned you one process and introduced about his process. Okay.
Yeah.
That is downloading some Excel file and then inputting some in application that already he has explained.
Yeah.
Now, can you start development immediately?
No, sir, no. First 1 to 2 months, first of all, I need to get all the access in our company because first 2 3 months it's all about access and all these things, right?
Yeah. Let me correct on that point. Yeah, you are perfect in that point. You are perfect.
Mm.
Access and all are very important and crucial things. Uh, as well, we need as first thing is completed, that is process walkthrough is completed, your process understanding starts. But as you are clear with your first meeting with business, next step is you should start designing documentation,
Okay.
because in documentation you can understand lots of things about access. You can, until and unless you don't know about what are the steps you have to do, then only you can just, yeah, I need SAP, then you can tell, yeah, I need SAP access. So access is the next part. First you have to create your documents.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Because without documents we can't go ahead. So you have to just go through the notes that you have prepared, or you can just ask to Mohammed, yeah, I wanted some screenshots of your process flows, and you should create PDD. In RPA, it is called as a PDD, or some organizations are called as FDD, that is functional design document. But generally followed terminology is PDD, process design document. So process design document is the, you can say, biodata of your process,
Uh,
which explains you how to develop the process. What are the important thing? What is a manual process? How to do these process in a automation, how to follow the steps in automations and all. So PDD is very important crucial documents before starting development, and it is the gap, or it is the bridging the gap between the business and developer. So process design document is very important. Let me clear you how much time is assigned for you to develop any process. As a experienced developer, depending on complexity of process, the time is assigned. If the process is very simple, development time is not more than 2 or 3 weeks. 2 weeks is a development, 1 week is for testing, and 1 week is for deployment. All. So if it's a simple process, 1 month is sufficient to develop and do everything. If it is complex, then 1.5 months. Sorry, if it is medium, then it's 1.5 months. If it is very complex, then 2 months. So this is a standardization set by all the organizations. In some organization, it might be like there might be some changes, plus minus, that might happen. But this is a standard rules, guys. In RPA, nobody will give you 3 months, 4 months. If the process is bigger, very bigger, like if it is taking 20 hours to run, then that might take too much time. But as a general case, we are having only 2 months for most complex process. Now PDD is completed. Okay, PDD is completed. What is the next task? So some organizations are avoiding this yesterday, that is a solution design document. Solution design document is the technical document where we are writing the pseudocode. Pseudocode means what? Most of times we are creating, if
mm,
element exists is available, then click there. If element exists not available, then go to the next block, then click on SAP launch, then click on here, click on there, go to there, do this, do that. All these steps we are using in a SDD, solution design document. I'll walk through all these documents afterwards. Now the next step is, if your PDD is ready, SDD is ready, your next step is the development. So until and unless you are not understanding these two documents, PDD and SDD, you can't go to the next step. So let's see your PDD is completed. You should aware with this short form PDD. If your PDD is ready, can you start designing SDD, guys, without any permission?
no, sir.
So after completion of your PDD, you have to send that PDD to business, that is Mohammed.
Mm,
So Mohammed can go through your PDD and send sign up. Sign up is the agreement or permission to go ahead. So if Mohammed sends, yes, I am agree with your all the documents, all these steps, you can go ahead for next level. So you get first sign up from Mohammed as a business to verify your PDD is correct. Now you start development of SDD. Now SDD you have started writing some pseudocode and all. If you feels my SDD is complete, then your next role is sorry, you should send that ESD to your manager, that is me. So you have to send that document to me because I'm a technical person. I can understand whether you are writing your code properly or not. You are designing solution properly or not. If I am agree with your SDD, you have to uh, you don't have to directly send out SDD to manager. You have to schedule some 10 or 15 minutes call with your manager that I wanted to go through my SDD. We can discuss that SDD if you wanted. Otherwise, you can just go through the document and you can give me sign up. Depends on manager's mood. Sometimes no, most of times managers never uh, make that call or schedule the call. They just send, yeah, I'm agree with your steps. If you are getting sign off for SDD, then your development work starts. Got it? So
Yes, sir.
until and unless you are not getting two sign-offs, some organizations might skip. This is standard process I'm telling you. But some organizations might skip SDD. But if in interview, if anybody asks you questions, if any interviewer panel asking you questions, what are the standard methods you are following, or what are the uh, automation lifecycle you are following, you should tell whatever I'm explaining right now. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir.
Now your development starts. You will follow SDD to develop your process. You will take new template from uipath, create new process. For example, SAP launching process. You will design your code. You will follow your best practices. You will throw every exceptions. You will use proper logging concept. You will proper report, execution summary, everything you, if you are doing properly, and if you feel my development is completed, then next step is now code is ready. Your development code is ready. Then you should tell your manager that I have completed my development and I wanted to have code review. Guys, this important point you should remember. Code review. Code review means whatever I have done, you should check with other developer. So you should inform senior developer or whatever developer assigned for you for code review. You can just ping manager whom I should report for code review. Then manager will tell you one name. You have to send that person mail that I have completed my code. You can attach code in a zip, or you can send that code in a repository as already we discussed GitHub or all. And you can share that link to your co-developer, that is senior developer. This is my process I developed. Please go through, or simultaneously you can schedule call of 30 minutes to discuss the code. Okay. Now in code review meeting, that co-developer will discuss, yeah, this is your standard, this is yours, or there will be some comments. If there are certain changes that co-developer suggests you or senior developer suggests you, then in that case you have to make changes and send back again to that developer. And if he agrees, then or she agrees, then he or she will send you sign up for code review. As you get sign off of a code review, then the next step is UAT, user acceptance testing. So user acceptance testing is the role between Mohammed and you. So what Mohammed will do, Mohammed will find out certain scenarios that might be very difficult to achieve automatically, or to achieve in automation. Because what Mohammed is expecting, my process should work in all scenarios. So Mohammed will create some scenarios. For example, let's see, I have to enter some um, Boolean values, or where we are not expecting. There should be properly exception handling also. So there might be some complex scenarios Mohammed wanted to test. To do UAT, you have to send one email to Mohammed, that is business, that I have completed my development. You have to make CC to your project manager also, that Mohammed, I have completed my development and I wanted to have UAT. So UAT schedule, you have to discuss with manager that I have 3 or 4 days schedule to have UAT, and you should send that schedule to Mohammed. If Mohammed is agree with that schedule, then you can schedule 3 or 4 days consecutive call, or depending on availability of Mohammed. And during that 4 days, you have to face, means virtually you have to meet and you have to test whatever scenario Mohammed is telling to you. And that is in a UAT environment. So development environment is different, UAT environment is different, and UAT environment is same as a production environment. It is a, we can say, proxy of your production environment. So as you are ready with your code, you have to deploy that in a UAT environment, and as your UAT schedule starts, whatever time you have assigned, you can just check with all the scenarios, and you have to send results, or you can just add Mohammad's email ID so that results will also receive to Mohammed. And if Mohammed is agree with all the codes, all the scenarios, then you can ask Mohammed, if Mohammed you are satisfied, can you please send me sign up of your UAT. Sign up means I'm agree with your all development and all results are working in UAT. So I am good to go in a deployment. Okay. So after getting sign up, next step is you have to deploy your code in a production. So production is the environment which is very high priority, high risk or high confidential environment where most of the developers don't have access. So next task is you have to deploy that in a production. If you have access, then you can directly do same process to deploy in UAT, and you can deploy the process in the production. After deployment in a production, there are 4 to 5 days period depending on organization called as hypercare period, where we monitors, because logs are available for us to monitor the process. We can check out all the logs whether our process is running fine or not. If there are any issues in our production, then we can cover that in a hypercare. We can change the issues, we can resolve the issues, change the process, change the code. All the things are resolved in a hypercare. And then after hypercare care period ends, we are moving that bot to support team. And that is our end of the role. Any questions till now, guys? Thank you so much, Mohammed and Prithviraj, for turning on your camera and helping me to become as a business and developer.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So any questions now, other team? Anybody, if you have any questions, please ask me. No questions? कुछ क्वेश्चंस नहीं है? क्या हुआ? थक चुके सब.
No, no, one question I have, sir. Like you said, the UAT, the pre-production stage, and then the bot will deploy to the actual production state. So once the bot is deployed, so do we need to, like, what is the role of that RPA developer? Do he need to monitor the logs on weekly basis, daily basis, or uh, it depends on the robot attended or unattended? Means the development part is done. What about the next? What needs to be taken care of in terms of the functionalities or any problem, or any
Yeah,
problem arises in case?
great, great, nice question. So thank you, Mohammed. That is very important. After development is finished, after production deployment is finished, and hypercare care period is finished. So hypercare period is the period where we are dealing with the issues. If there are happening, if any issues, then we have to resolve. After hypercare period is completed and we are handovering that to production support team. There is another team, production support team. So after that handover, we don't need to look into that process until and unless you are getting email from production support team that your bot is having some issues. Can you please look into that? So if you are getting email from production support team, if you don't have production support team, then you might have to handle the roles of the production support team. and you have to observe the logs. But if you have a production support team, then no need to work on that. So if you don't have production support team, then you have to monitor your process as a production support. And if there are any issues, again, then you have to check the code. Again, you have to do into development environment, make the changes, and do UAT process from your side, yourself only. At that moment, no need of involvement of business, and directly you can just deploy the production, and we'll do same process whenever there are any issues.
Great. So if there is any issue, then the RP's role comes into picture. Otherwise, the production support team will take care of everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, or let's move towards documents? So this is one of the structure, actually, you, for all organizations, depending on organization, the format might be different, but I'll just showcase one high level format which we have prepared for referring all. So first page, which includes all the high level information about the process, what is the category of the process, sales and purchase, then what is the country, process name, business analyst, who is the business analyst, approved version, document created by, reviewed by, and approved by. So these are the high level details. Then first page includes key stakeholders, document version history, signed off by contributors, then as is to be processed, process flow, detailed steps, exceptions, and risk assumptions appendix. So key stakeholders includes the persons those are involved in this process. Document version history. As you are changing these documents, if there are steps are changed, then you can change your versions to new version of your PDD. Signed up by process owner. High level process overview. I'm just showcasing you general structure of PDD. In different organizations, it might be different. This is as step, process flow, possible exceptions, risk assumptions, and appendix. Then PQD, as if you have role as a business analyst, then you should prepare these documents, which includes certain questions to ask to business, process name, process owner, description, is the process change in 3 to 6 months, what is frequency, volume, constraint. These are the not that much important topics for right now. Okay, till now, any questions regarding documents and all?
One
No,
question,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who all are involved at initial level, sir? Like you said, there is a process analyst also, like have to uh, hand over, or uh, at initial level he has to involve. So apart from the process architecture or analyst and the RPA developer, who all are involved?
Okay. So if you, let's see in your organization, business analyst is available. So first role is of a manager and a business analyst. So business analyst and manager will discuss with client or business to finalize the process. In that case, business analyst will understand the process and create PDD, process design document, and it will hand over to developer. So developer's role starts from understanding PDD, not process understanding. If you have a business analyst, if you don't have business analyst, then your role starts interaction with business and from starting only. Got it?
So in that case, then we have to play the other role as well, like business analyst and the RPA developer also.
Yes. Two roles you have to play if there is no business analyst.
Okay, okay, got it, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, fine. Thank you. So next step is Resume preparation. As already I told you, we have two different groups where you will be mentored and tell how to create your resume. uh, you might have already created your resume, but will change as per a requirement and will update your experience, academic details, what projects we wanted to give you. Two projects will demonstrate and will create your resume that would be really highlighted in your Naukri portal. And that is the next step that we'll do while we'll considering resume preparation. Now, next step, what is the next steps? Now, next step is, as you might aware, let me stop recording. Okay, so okay, so what is next step? Now you have to go through all our recordings. You have to make yourself as a experienced candidate, like practicing all these stuffs that we have covered, as well as you can explore more as you feels you are comfortable with all the topics, starting from variable data control, control structure, then Excel automation, PDF, email, web, desktop, orchestrator, RE framework. If you feels you are good with all these topics, then guys, got it? What is my point? If you feel you have practiced all the topics, starting from basic till RE framework, then you can reach out to your mentor that I have completed my all the topics. I'm good. I can answer all the questions. I can uh, do whatever the things those are available with the specific topic. I'm good. In that case, you have to reach out to mentor. So what will happen if you reach out to mentor? So first he will ask certain questions. That is called as a first mock. So first mock interview, what will happen? If mentor is happy with your performance, then you will be provided project. You will be provided project, and if you practice on how to talk about project, how to talk about the all the questions and all, then we will take one more mock interview, and then we can go ahead to prepare your resume. So until unless we are not sure about you are good in all aspects, we will not create your resume. The reason is, if as per our past experience, if we are creating resume at initial level, you might get a call, but most of the calls gets wasted due to the not appropriate you know practice from your side. So that's why we have decided, until unless you are not that much perfect, we will not create resume and make live into Naukri portal. So that is the thing. This is for all guys, all the teams, those are available uh, for this batch. Second thing, we as already we might have discussed, we have a second module that is a project. Sorry, we can say that is a interview support model. So in interview support model, we will be providing. So for first thing, after two mock, we will create resume, and our we can say our roles ends there. Afterwards, if you have any small questions, we can answer, but our rules ends there. Second thing is, if you are opting interview support model, then in that case, we will monitor your all the interviews. This starts after your resume is created. So in interview support module, we will monitor you. Your interviews will discuss on daily basis whenever you are facing any challenges, how to answer the questions, if there are any scenario based, to deal with different situations regarding your mock interviews. Regarding your all questions, we will be there to support you if you are taking or opting interview support module. So in interview support module, we will uh, mentor you in all aspects, and charges for that is uh, so in interview support model we are providing experience. If you need experience, then we includes all costs in that interview support module, and that's interview support module is your first salary, and that you have to pay whenever you will get offer. So that is after your offer, which will include your experience letters. So until resume preparation, there is no any we can say there is no any interview support module or exists. After your resume is prepared, then interview support module starts. If you require, that is not mandatory. If you request, then you can opt. But for that, the charges are first salary, which you have to pay after getting offer, and experience later will be experience cost will be included in that. I hope you are clear.
Yes, sir. So you will provide the experience later along with the job assistance, right?
Job assistance means
It's an
will
interview.
mentor you. Yeah,
Inter
in interview we'll discuss on daily basis, or whenever you require, you can just chat, ping, call. We will discuss and will just motivate to get as early as possible. But we don't have any options, because as already you know, we are working in one of the organization, and we are just we are working as a mentor. So that is our role.
okay. And
Okay, any
what are the
yeah.
charges for like the on-job role assistance? Like once the player person gets hired, and if he wants to take the assistance for a couple of months, I would say 1 or 2 months. So what are the charges for that?
That is actually not big, we can say depends on that time's situation. If you need like how much support you need, but most of times if it's monthly basis, then we are taking 15 to 20 thousand,
Okay.
because there might be two or three different persons involved, because as you know, we are also working, but we'll manage the peoples that should properly provide you support on time, because that is high priority.
So right now this is a FAPE, sir, and we also need to everybody of us need to go through the recordings and get the all the concepts clear, because from for me I would say I've just completed 2 3 first recordings, and also practiced along with that, so my concepts are getting clear. So how much typical the time it's required? Like you said, there would be openings in March. So any specific time period so that we can practice all the sessions and be ready for the next stage, for the interview stage.
I would say 15 days are very long period to go all the recordings and to understand all the concept, practice from your side, try to get try to explore more things related to topics. So 15 days are sufficient period for
Okay.
you to become expert. After 15 days, I hope everybody should come on track, and you can just start next step. So 15 days are sufficient. And right now there are openings. but I'm just telling you there might be lots of new things coming into the market in March.
Yes, sir. There's no point like going for the interview without you're having the concepts clear, because we all know theoretically the concepts there are in our minds, but what we need is, as of now, is the hands-on experience, the little bit practice, so that we can crack the interview.
Yes, it's perfect. So any questions before going to question again? I have some motivational things that I wanted to tell you. I'm not the person who delivers motivational talk, but I have some small things that would like to share with you. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
So you might know this butterflies lessons, but let me tell you once again. One day, a small opening appeared in a cocoon. A man sat and watched for the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to force its body through that little hole. You might know how a butterfly just runs. So a man was just thinking about यार ये बटरफ्लाई ट्राई कर रहा है लेकिन उसको बाहर आने के लिए कौन से हेल्प नहीं हो रहा है. So then it seems to stop making any progress. It appears as if it had gotten as far as it could and it could not go any further. So that butterfly was trying to get out, but it was not successful. So the man decided to help the butterfly. He took a pair of scissors and opened the cocoon. The butterfly was just trying a lot, but since it was not successful, man decided to help him. The butterfly then emerged easily, but it had withered body. It was tiny and shriveled wings. Man helped him, but what happened? The the body was only thing was tiny and shriveled wings. Wings were shriveled. The man watched, continued to watch because he expected that any moment the wings would open, enlarge, and expand to be able to support the butterfly's body and become first. But neither happened. In fact, the butterfly spent the rest of its life crawling around with that body and shriveled wings. It never was able to fly. Guys, this story or this the short lesson is very important for us to refer, because obviously we are expecting somebody should help us. Same like butterfly was just trying to get out of the cocoon, but he was that was butterfly was trying most of times, but it was not successful, and the man helped him. The purpose of man was really good, appreciable, but the timing was wrong, the location was wrong. अगर the person अगर वो man उसने help नहीं की होती, तो at certain time like 1 day 2 day 4 day 1 week जो time उसको बाहर निकालने के लिए देना चाहिए था, तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो हो जाता. लेकिन जल्दी करने की वजह से the person cut that particular part, and उसकी वजह से वो पूरा उसका लाइफ मतलब वो that butterfly can't fly because of the man's mistake. So आप सब इंक्लूडिंग मी किसी की हेल्प लेनी चाहिए, लेकिन एप्रोप्रिएट टाइम पे लेनी चाहिए. अगर गलत टाइम पे लिया, या अगर हम किसी को इतनी भी ज्यादा जरूरत से ज्यादा अगर हेल्प करेंगे, दैट इज नॉट गुड. There are struggle, always struggle. We have to face the struggle situation, struggling situation. अगर हम अच्छे से struggle करेंगे तो ही हम अच्छे से successful हो सकते हैं. So struggle is very important in our life. We have to struggle and then we can realize our efforts. जो हम बोलते हैं ना किसी कौन से तो मूवी में एक डायलॉग है, हम सस्ती चीजों का शौक नहीं रखते, ऐसा कुछ तो डायलॉग है. वैसे आप स्ट्रगल करो और जो स्ट्रगल से आपको मिलेगा ना, डेफिनेटली इट इज very fruitful. That is my actually conclusion here to share with you. Hope
Yeah,